Trial blend batching exercise for virgin mixes. Elko Asphalt is designing an SM9.5A virgin mix design at 5.5%. It's PG64-22 with the following aggregate blend. We've got 44% 8s, 35% 10s, 20% natural sand, and 1% baghouse fines for plant breakdown. Always include some baghouse fines. This can vary from plant to plant. You may be as low as 0.5%, you may be as high as 2%, but very important to include in your batching. So for virgin mixes, they're pretty simple to do. You want to determine the weight of asphalt and aggregate needed for batching the specimens. The first thing you want to know is what size specimen are you going to use. Are you going to use 4,800 grams for a pill, or are you doing a rice, so maybe you only need 2,000 grams? So getting started, we want to determine the weight of the total mixture by AASHTO 35 or by experience. In this case, we're going to use 4,800 grams. We're going to do a pill specimen for the lab. And the first thing that you want to do is calculate the weight of the asphalt binder needed for the batch. So we've got a 4,800 gram sample, and again, the first thing you want to do is calculate your liquid AC. In this case, we are using 5.5% asphalt. So we're going to multiply 4,800 grams by 5.5% or 0.055 or 0.055, and that will give you 264 grams of virgin asphalt binder. Once we know that virgin asphalt binder number, we're going to pull that out of the total sample, which is 4,800 grams. When you subtract that out, you get 4,536 grams left. This becomes your total percent or total amount of virgin aggregate that we're adding to the mix. So once we've got that total virgin aggregate, it's 4,536 grams, we're going to apply that number to all of the percentages in your mix design. So in this case, we have 44% 8s, 35% 10s, 20% natural sand, and 1% baghouse fines. When you multiply those out, you get individual grams of each individual aggregate. You always want to add those up just to double check, and they should add up to your total specimen weight of 4,800 grams, which they do here. Trial blend batching for wrap mixes. Doing this is a little bit more difficult than doing the virgin mixes. With wrap mixes, we've got a few more steps to go through, mainly because you've got some liquid asphalt that is included in the wrap that we have to account for, and we do a different way of calculating our virgin asphalt as well. This is some of the nomenclature that you'll see as we go through our calculations. Weight of wrap in the trial blend, in grams, also in percentage. We need to know how much asphalt is in our wrap, and we're going to refer to that as residual binder. So again, we're going to select a blend amount based on AASHTO R35 or experience. In this case, we're going to use 4,800 grams. We're making a pill specimen. We're going to calculate the weight of the wrap in the trial blend in grams first. So we know we've got 4,800 grams. We also know another given is that we're running 25% wrap in this mix. So we're going to take that 4,800 and multiply by 25%. That gives us 1,200 grams of wrap. The next thing we have to determine is how much residual asphalt is in the wrap. In this case, we know that we have 5% asphalt. This will vary from stockpile to stockpile, from contractor to contractor. It just depends on your material. But in this case, we're using 5% for the asphalt content of the wrap. We're going to take that, we're going to apply that to the grams of wrap that are in our sample, which in this case is 1,200. So if we multiply that by 5%, we come up with 60 grams of liquid asphalt in the wrap. We next determine the weight of the true aggregate blend by subtracting the weight of the residual asphalt from the weight of the aggregate blend. So we had a 4,800 gram sample. We calculated how much wrap was in our sample. Then we calculated how much AC, residual asphalt, was in the wrap, which was 60 grams. So now we're trying to come up with how many grams of total virgin aggregate or aggregate is actually in the sample. So we're going to deduct 60 grams, which was the residual AC in our wrap, from 4,800, and that's going to give us 4,740 grams. This is the total aggregate in the sample, and that's including aggregate that's in our wrap. So next, if there's a tricky part, it's this part. We've got to calculate the total weight of the total blended mixture needed to achieve our target asphalt content of the trial blend. So in other words, how much liquid do we add to this sample to get to our target trial blend? We're trying to get 5.5% liquid. We have a total of 4,740 grams of aggregate. So to do that, we're going to divide that number by the percent of aggregate in the mix, the finished aggregate in the mix, which will be 94.5% or 0.945. So when we take 4,740 and divide it by 0.945, we get 5,015.9 grams. This becomes the new total weight of our mixture for our sample. Next, we're going to calculate the weight of total binder needed to achieve the target asphalt content of the trial blend. We know that our total mixture weight is 5,015.9, and we also know that our total aggregate weight is 4,740 grams. When we subtract those two, the difference is 275.9 grams of asphalt. But remember, this is total asphalt, so this number includes the residual asphalt that's in our wrap. So knowing that, we realize for batching, we have to figure out how much virgin liquid do we add to this sample to get to our target. So knowing that 275.9 grams is our total asphalt, we still have to subtract out the residual liquid that's in the wrap to get to our virgin liquid that we're going to use for batching. So we take that 275.9 minus 60 grams of asphalt, residual asphalt that's in our wrap, we come up with 215.9 grams of virgin asphalt binder. So we can double check this. We're going to take now our initial grams of material that we started with, the 4,800 grams of eighths. We're going to apply our percentages of each of the individual aggregates to that 4,800 grams from eighths, tens, natural sand, baghouse fines, and then our wrap. And then we're going to add 215.9 grams of virgin AC to this blend. And again, that 1,200 grams does include 60 grams of asphalt. That's going to give you a total of 5,015.9 grams of material, which checks out against the total of what we calculated in the previous slide. So there are a couple of ways that you can be asked questions on the exam, how to add asphalt to, or how to calculate how much binder you're going to put in a batch sample. And just the way we went through and calculated a virgin mixed binder and a wrap binder are very different, and that kind of highlights the differences between the two ways you could be asked. So we have two different questions here. And if you read through these quickly, you may end up doing this and making a mistake. So you want to read this very carefully to figure out how you do the calculation. And you could see either one of these posed on the exam or a question similar to this. So be sure to read it closely and carefully and then make your calculations based on exactly what they're asking. So this first question is, you're preparing a batch, or you're preparing to batch a 5,000 gram sample. How much asphalt do you need for 5.5% binder content? Well, this is sort of like the virgin asphalt sample when we did the batching. We know that we're going to have a total of 5,000 grams. We're preparing to batch that, and it's a very straightforward calculation. We're going to take 5,000 grams and multiply it by 5.5%, or 0.055 for 275 grams. Pretty easy, but if you look at number 10, the question looks very similar, but it does have a different calculation and a different answer. This says you have batched a 5,000 gram sample. So this insinuates that you've already batched your aggregate. You've already got a 5,000 gram sample. How much asphalt do you add to have a 5.5% binder content? So what you need to notice in reading this, you're going to end up with a higher amount of grams in your sample than 5,000. You've already batched 5,000 grams, And the question is, how much asphalt do you add to that to achieve 5.5% binder? So we're going to do the same thing we did with our wrap asphalt calculation. We're going to take our total grams of our sample to this point, which is 5,000, and we're going to divide that by the percent aggregate upon completion of the sample, which is 94.5%. And the way we calculated that was just pulling out the 5.5% liquid from 100, so that gives us 0.945. When you do that calculation, you actually get 291 grams of asphalt, which is different from the 275 that we did in question number 9. So very important, be sure to read these questions very closely on the exam. There are 2 different ways to do batching depending on what you've already got. The first question, again, the total sample is going to end at 5,000 grams. The next question, you've already got 5,000 grams and you've got to add asphalt to get to a binder content.